saw Reed doing a little bit of shooting yesterday. How's his progress and his recovery coming along, and what's the next step for him?
It's going well. He much less pain, obviously, at this point. Can take the splint off part-time when he shoots and works out. I think he had a scan 2 days ago and showed good calcification of the bone. And so I think in the next 4 to 5 days, we should hear more and evaluate him from there.
Obviously, there's a lot of unpredictability in the Western Conference. Men told me he doesn't care who they play. He's confident in any matchup. How important is it for your guys to have that mindset instead of we want to avoid this team or we want to, to feel confident with whoever and wherever the chips fall?
Yeah, I think you have to go in with that mindset. It's so much unpredictability, let alone in the top six. The play-in puts a new wrinkle into that as well, where you could play up to 4 teams. So your preparation has to be on all those teams, and it's not like back in the day where you could nitpick an opponent, and it could come down to the last day where we go from 2 to 7. Happened to me in San Antonio one year when we were number 2 and lost to New Orleans. They made the playoffs in the AC, and we dropped to 7, and so it's very tight as far as that. But the more so the mindset is to take on whoever and not try to avoid anybody or try to tweak things or get too smart.
What do you see as maybe the main reason or possibly reasons for Alperen Sengun's kind of efficiency drop-off and finishing around the rim this season?
Early on, he was just missing easy shots. You got the looks that he got throughout his career that he's hit at a high rate, and obviously last year as well. The mid-range wasn't as efficient as earlier last year, so that part wasn't there from the get-go, but things around the basket, he's just missing easy shots. I think he went through a rough stretch, and then seemed like coming out of All-Star break, he got his legs back a little bit and was hitting those at a high rate. So it's been some up and down, but as always, we believe in those shots, and you get the great looks that you get, whether it's someone open for a 3 or him in the post or in his isolations, you take those. And so had some ups and downs, a slow start, and I think he's gotten much better, and then some ups and downs lately, but we'll live with those.
How close are the rotations you have right now to what you'll implement in the playoffs?
I think just having everybody back, minus Reed lately, when we got our men back and Fred back in the lineup, we've gone to 8 recently, but that's not what we want to do going down the stretch of the season. We still want to have guys fresh, and obviously you do shorten the rotation when the playoffs come to get the guys the minutes that they need, but more so out of necessity and chemistry building right now. When we got everybody back, I think it was a chance to get to look at those guys, those 8 together, and not take away minutes from guys that needed them or deserved them. And so luxury to have men, Fred and Jabari back for the first time in a while, and that's why the rotation more so has been shortened. They play really well together at times, and so we'll still try to get 9, possibly 10 in at a lot of these games, toward the end of the season. But as always, want to see what we have going into playoffs, and it's usually shortened to an 8 or 9-man rotation.
Having played most of the season now, early on it was all about the defense, and the offense was kind of struggling and behind. Put up 116 a game in March. Do you feel like the identity of your team has evolved or changed or grown or anything?
I think grown for sure. We do want to have balance and not just have to rely on holding people, to a low number. That always helps, and we know if we hold certain teams to a certain number or score a certain number, we should be in good shape to win, but we'd like to have the balance of being really good at both. And so start of the year, obviously one of the top defensive teams, had good carryover from last year. Offensively, saw the things that will help us, impact us on that side of the ball as well, but sometimes, like I said, it always comes down to shooting, and some guys were below their career numbers to start the season, have kind of found their rhythm there. Alperen as well, like we just mentioned, has hit his stride. Jalen improved in a lot of areas efficiency-wise, but the offensive rebounds, the pace, those things that we can do on a nightly basis, regardless of shots fall or not. We want to have that balance, not just rely on defense, but defense to offense has been a good identity for us as well.
Kind of piggybacking up Danielle's question, we've seen different iterations of the starting lineup this season, starting with Jabari, then he gets hurt, and then gets inserted, and then recently we saw Tari in the starting lineup as well, so kind of 3 different guys cycling through that 4 spot. Why have you ultimately settled on a men being the right fit or the right kind of, long-term permanent starter?
I wouldn't say we settled on anything. Men, he plugs every gap that we have. With Fred's out, he can play the 1. When Jabari's out, he plays the 4, and anybody else out, he's kind of filled in that role. Tari with Fred being out and I'm in for a minute. Obviously, on the back-to-backs, we want to play him as many minutes as possible. So to get those numbers up, we start him at times. But we'll take a look at everything we have recently, at the lineups in general, starts of games and different things like that, and settle on what's best for us. But the reason I'm was in there is because of his versatility to guard and play any position.
Anything else? Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.